Whoops a daisy, I accidentally cut the camera off. I'm just going to do myself my... right, anyway, let's focus on what I was actually showing. This is my soup gainz, okay? So there's carrot, sweet potato, celery, mushroom, onion, parsnip. Actually, let me just see. I think I've forgotten to put something in. Or has that? I think my mum's thrown it away, isn't she? So I had some swede in here, and there was nothing wrong with it. But my mum has got some kind of level of OCD where if a vegetable's been open for like any more than about 4 days, it has to be thrown away. Oh well, never mind. She's thrown that away then. So bugger, because I was looking forward to that. Anyway, okay. So the next step in this food preparation, I'll do that coffee in a minute, is the herbs. Herbivore gainz. Herbs. You see, herbs, we need herbs. Okay, salt. This is Himalayan pink rock salt, courtesy of Wamberworm. You buy it in chunks, just wash it and the outer level comes off, and then smash it to fuck with a hammer and it becomes fine grains. And stick some of that in your cooking instead of white table salt, because I Google it, man. White table salt's just shite, empty of any minerals, just pure bullshit. Whereas that's got lots of nice minerals in. We want minerals. Sage. Sage. We like sage. We want sage. We love sage. Dill weed. We love dill weed. We want dill weed. Parsley. We love parsley. We want parsley. We want black pepper. Yes, we do. You can put white pepper in as well if you want. You know, I personally don't, but it's not to say that it won't do anything good for you. If you Google these herbs, they're only simple herbs. There's nothing extravagant in it. There's no adaptogenic herbs. But if you Google it, basil, every single one of them are reported to have health benefits for the human body. Strengthening of the organs and so on like that. Oregano, by the way, that was thyme. You know, so, you know, eat them, put them in your food. Makes your food taste better as well. You know, and that was rosemary. So we've got, like Simon and Garfunkel's song, we've got parsley, sage, rosemary and thyme. Then we've got oregano, basil, dillweed, black pepper and marjoram. That's just a selection of herbs that I use that go well together. You know, you can pretty much put whatever you want in, but if you stick with those as your main herbs, I don't think you'll go wrong. I've been putting some lentils in, not too many because they have the same effect as beans and give me a batty gas, but just a little handful of lentils. Kind of good protein source on that, so you know, vegan protein. When you get your vegan protein. Another thing as well for vegan protein, talking about vegan protein, is this stuff. Bee pollen, absolutely amazing source of protein. You just take a couple of scoops, chomp it down, everything's cool. You know, also don't forget to get your Manuka honey down ya. I mean, I know there's a lot of vegans out there say, oh, but you're not vegan if you have that because it's an animal product. Well, you know what? Yeah, I can see what they're saying. But like Dan McDonald said, he's never met a beekeeper that abuses his animals. You know, the animals, the bees. He's never met anyone that abuses bees. They're looked after well, you know. And ultimately, what we're trying to do here, as well as release all of the beings from suffering and everything, is to ultimately release ourselves from suffering. So we're trying to create a system of health and homeostasis within our bodies first before we go helping everybody else, you know. And then you know what I'm trying to say, don't you? You know, so before we do all that, so we're looking at sorting ourselves out first. So that goes there and it just stays there till later, and then I'll just fill it up to about there with boiling water and boil the bollocks out of it. And I'll show you what it looks like after. It is beautiful. It's worthy for a yogi to eat. You know what I'm saying? It's worthy. Because obviously, you know, the ultimate food is fruit, isn't it? We all know that. Absolutely beautiful, juicy, succulent fruit. And then second to that is leaves. Yeah! All kinds of leaf. Who want to eat leaf? And then root vegetables to grow in the ground. I mean, some people will say, oh, don't eat anything that grows below the ground, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm just going to say, I'm eating them because I want to, and I like it. And I personally think it's a lot more nutritious than eating a pizza or a kebab or something like that. So if they want to suck a dick, let them suck a dick. If they want to fucking argue about it, let them argue about it. You know, I mean, it'd be great to be 100% fruitarian, and I will probably aspire to be that one day. You know, but for now, I eat a lot of fruit, hell of a lot of fruit, and I eat a bit of salad, you know, a fair bit of salad, and I'm also having soup gainz. All kinds of soup gainz. But I don't live in, you know, Costa Rica or Florida or where's other places. Really nice and warm. California, no, I'm not lucky enough to live there. So I live in a shit, freezing cold country. Well, it's not shit, it's alright, but it's fucking cold. And we do need some additional heat in our bodies from our food, unfortunately. Yeah, if you're on a sunny beach all day long, you can get away with supping on oranges all day long, I am sure. And this is my kefir gainz. There's my already done kefir. This is my kefir that I'm cooking. Listen to it fizz. Hear that fizz? That's the bubbles getting released. It reminds me, it tastes a mixture between cider, vinegar and wine. And it's actually quite a nice drink, but you don't want to drink too much of it because, jeez man, first day I drank it I got, what do they call it, a Hermexheimer reaction or something, some doctor. Basically it's good bacteria, goes into the body, beats up all the bad guys, it's come on bitch, boom, right, gets all the bad bacteria and beats fuck out of them, and replaces the good bacteria in the body. And what happens is all those dead parasites, them dead bacteria, well, they have to come out of the body somehow through the elimination organs channels. Well, I ended up with a raging cold, and then every day after, when the cold would die off, its detox symptoms, every day after I'd have it, it'd come back a little bit and I'd kind of be at this level. I'm drinking a bit more now without getting that reaction, which shows that the healthy bacteria's multiplying up and doing its job, and the bad ones are dying off, which is a good thing, because unfortunately we've all had antibiotics in our lives that have killed off a lot of our good bacterias. And we've eaten a lot of things like bread and stuff that contain a lot of yeast that arguably should never have been in the human being's diet. And we all know yeast infection, candida and stuff, it gets out of control. I struggle with it terribly. Now the strange thing about it is it wasn't too bad when I was on a normal standard diet, but now I've gone on to mainly fruit diet. All that sugar does make the candida multiply like gone crazy, and I do suffer with it a bit. The yeast should never have been in there in the first place, and this is where the problem is. So we're all struggling with it to a little bit, and I think the ultimate way to get rid of it long term is a real long fast, and then also possibly juicing like Dan McDonald style, vegetables, juice. Try and not have fruits for a good time, let them die out inside, If they ain't got sugar, they can't feed. And I think long term, that is the solution to a lot of these problems. To have a transition to a predominantly raw food diet, fruits and salads, and then, you know, if you live in a country like us, we have some soups and stuff. It's a transition, they say, to allow a year for every 10 years of your life. So I'm 37, so let's just say arguably 40. So allow 3.5 to 4 years to transition over. I've been doing it nearly a year now. And in those transition times, you can experiment. You know, you can still have a little bit of bread, still have a little bit of meat if you really want to, and a little bit of cheese and shit if you really want to. I mean, I've cut out the dairy products, but I do have a very small amount of chicken, which I do feel like I really need to sort out, really. I never add it to my cooking, ever will I ever add it to my cooking, but when I'm out, a little takeaway and stuff, unfortunately, it's one of them things I'm looking at eventually not needing it. You know, not needing it, that's what it's all about. For the comfort or for whatever it is that it gives you, to eventually not need it. And it takes time, so give it another 3 years. I'll be saying I don't need that shit anymore now. You know, I'm doing different stuff, so it takes time. The body starts to adjust, but it is amazing how quickly you will feel better. You will feel stronger. You know, your body, and that's without any training and stuff. I mean, I had to stop training for a while just to get used to this diet, because at first I was like, wow, this is weird, man, I'm just eating leaves all day and that, and I felt quite a bit more hungrier than usual because I was missing out on the high fibre from the breads and the bran flakes and stuff. So it took me a little while to get used to it. So I had to be willing to put my ego aside and let go of all that muscle that I'd built up at the time, and let it go and dissolve, and I did. And I couldn't wait to get training again, and I've just started training again, and it feels great. And now my body's building up the muscle faster than it did before, obviously because of muscle memory as well, but better than before, cleaner, gorilla style, gorilla gains, know what I mean? And I'm pleased about that, because I'm now thinking that I'm on the first rung of a ladder, that in 2 or 3 years time, I don't know where it'll take me. I'll keep getting stronger and stronger, and I'm going to get to all kinds of strong, all kinds. So that's soup gains anyway. So tomorrow I will film fruit gains in the morning, and then salad gains in the afternoon. My mum will be here, so I won't be able to make quite so much noise, so I'll be like, this is how you do this, and blah blah blah, and then we get this, then we get the salad. So, but you know, so I'll film that, and I just hope that I know that like, the main people that will see this video will be Bodie, Steve, Ella Jack, maybe Matthew from America might see it. Tammy, Wambleworm will probably most likely see it, and that'll probably be it really at the moment. You're the only people that probably see this vid, so it's mainly for you, and I know that some of you already know this shit and probably might have gone a little beyond this shit yourself, but like mainly Steve, I know, like, you know, you've struggled a bit with your diet lately, as I have as well, because it's winter. I've been eating a lot of shit just lately, and you wanted to try and get into this stuff, man, and it's, tell you what now, it will be the best thing you ever do. It'll cost you a lot more. I mean, like I've said, you can get a bloody loaf of bread and a pack of bran flakes for a couple of quid, or last you all week. You can survive on them all week, whereas I might spend £5 to £10 a day now on what I eat. And that's the trouble. Of course, all of the food, most of the food that I eat grows out of the ground for free. But we don't live in that world anymore, do we? We live in a world where it has to be shipped over from abroad by plane, because we don't grow it here. Even though we could grow it here, we could. I mean, there's a lot of food we could grow here that we don't grow anymore, because of Margaret Thatcher back in the 80s decided it was cheaper to buy it in from abroad, so she screwed our farmers over. Our farmers hate her, like our miners hate her too. Anyway, that's a different subject. The thing is, though, the truth of the matter is if people really understood the truth, the ultimate truth of all, they wouldn't be out spending billions of pounds to go to the moon and research outer space. They'd be spending billions of pounds to make things similar to the Eden Project in Cornwall for everybody to grow their own tropical foods in this country and make it sustainable. If we didn't live in such a shit world where you've got the likes of George Bush and people like that with the oil industry and wars in Iraq and God knows what else, we'd get into clean fuel. The technology's already there. I mean, there's wind power and there's water power, but there's also technology out there to use water, nothing but water, to fuel everything. Cars, home heating, make electricity, you name it. So they say, oh, the Eden Project, it takes electricity. It wouldn't have to take anything. It could all be free. We could restore paradise to the earth. You know, this is what I'm talking about, man. I mean, this is pretty deep, really. And we lost paradise because we lost our fruit garden. We lost the ability to just eat from the trees for free. And as a result of it came work and labour and governmental systems in order to control that. And money came to barter and exchange. And, you know, and the plant-based foods weren't enough. So we turned into eating dead animals and all that kind of shit. And our modern society is a result of it, and the richest companies in the world are companies like McDonald's that poison us because it tastes good. And we could restore. I'm not saying we're going to ever, because I can see the depth of the shit that we're in. But we could restore the world to a paradise again if we wanted. We could all have fruit trees out in the garden, even in Antarctica, using technology like the Eden Project, fueled on nothing but water. So endless amounts of free energy to power the systems in place that could create the heat, to create the tropical environment, so we could grow food, real food. And then we wouldn't need healthcare, apart from emergency healthcare if somebody had an accident. We wouldn't need it because people wouldn't be unhealthy. There'd be no such thing as unhealthiness. I honestly believe that. You know, it says that when we lost Eden, the state of Eden, which was living in the garden, which was eating the fruits, all the fruits that God had created for us, there was no disease, there was no sickness. And it was only after we lost that state and we fled east of Eden, it says, I believe it was possibly north of Eden, thinking of like Eden as like the Africa plains that apparently were once covered in trees, fruit trees, until the earth changed and then it became a drought land. The whole, you know, getting banished from that. I see it in a bit more of a reality that the earth changed, the climate changed, and we had to spread north to try and find, you know, foods, and it was colder. And I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, but we started putting clothing on because it was too bloody cold. And we killed animals for the skins, and we made fire to keep us warm. And we decided to chuck the dead animal on the fire, and that smells good, you know, and so on and so on. And that society as we know it has kind of evolved from that. I can see that. I myself can trace it back, and I can see how it's all happened. That to me is something that is a level of spiritual enlightenment. That is something that I refer to as the great truth. I mean, there is no truth beyond that, in my opinion, that can teach you anything more important than what that is. And even though we're in a real fallen state, the world is in a fallen state, we can try to bring ourselves back to that level of perfection personally, and in encouraging other people to do that too. And who knows, it might happen globally one day. You know, everyone gets their own little bit of garden out the back with a greenhouse dome on it, and apple trees and orange trees and mango trees and God knows what else, and eating beautiful passion fruits, succulent fruits all day long for free, and keeping us healthy and clean. No work. There'll be no work, because all labour, all work revolves as being invented as such has been created as a result of not being able to have free food, or needing heating, for example, you know, hot water, and or water in general being piped through to the house. You know, I mean, there again, if people really understood what the score was, we could have mineral water piped to the house. I mean, you don't want to waste it, so you could have a separate source for washing, which is pretty much what comes through the taps now. That's fine, we could have that for washing, but for drinking, it needs to come out of the earth, man. So yeah, a bit of a tangent there. I mean, I started off just showing you how I make my soups, and I kind of gone on to a bit of a tangent. But it's important stuff, man. It really is, and it's all about your understanding of it. And it don't matter what anyone else thinks. I mean, we will battle against other people and what they think. Unfortunately, it is a battle, and I've had some already myself with my own family, with my own mother even. I was nearly on the streets as a result of it, because she couldn't handle what was happening to me, the changes that were happening to me, and I was trying to encourage her to do it too. In the end, I gave up trying to encourage that. But she's come to it herself a bit anyway, only because she wants to lose some weight, and she's like, oh, I might try eating like you do. And I'm like, you know, what you got to lose, man? What you got to lose? So that's that anyway. So that's the soup prepared for later. That will go in that recycling box in a moment, but I'll just go and nip upstairs and go for a wee. So that's that. So it's a bit of a long video. I know, like, Steve, you'll probably end up watching it on your phone. It'd be great if you could sit at a laptop and watch it. And just let me know what you think, man, and just do it. Just do it. Just fucking do it, bruh. Do it.